Tonight, we are going to take a slow walk through our own neighborhood. Not the streets outside your window, the other neighborhood. The one that has been turning quietly around you your whole life, far too large and far too slow to feel. The sun and the worlds that drift around it. Our solar system. The small circle of light and rock and ice that we, and everything we have ever known, call home. You do not need to remember any of it. There will be no test, no need to hold the names or the numbers. We are only going for a drift from world to world, out into the dark and back again. If you fall asleep somewhere between the planets, that is exactly where you are meant to be. So settle in. Let the bed take your weight. We are going to leave the Earth behind for a little while and move outward gently past every world the sun has gathered around itself. There is no hurry. Out here, there never is. Let us begin where everything begins, at the fire in the center. At the heart of everything we will visit tonight is the sun, and almost everything else is, by comparison, a rounding error. The sun holds more than 99.8% of all the mass in the solar system. Every planet, every moon, every comet and asteroid and grain of dust, all of it together, is less than 1 part in 500 of the whole. The solar system is, in truth, just the sun, and a little debris left over from its making, circling in the dark. It is a star, of course, a vast ball of glowing gas, so wide that 1,000,000 Earths could fit inside it. At its core, under unimaginable pressure, it fuses hydrogen into helium and turns a sliver of that matter into light. Every second, it burns through 600 million tons of hydrogen. It has been doing so for 4.5 billion years, and it has enough fuel for billions more. The light that warms your part of the world by day began its journey in that core, and crossed 93 million miles of empty space to reach you, taking just over 8 minutes to make the trip. The sunlight you have known all your life is always 8 minutes old. By the time it touches your skin, it has already left its home far behind. For now, simply hold this thought. Everything we are about to visit, every planet and moon and frozen world, is held in its slow circle by the gravity of that single fire. The sun reaches out, invisibly, across billions of miles, and gently keeps them all from drifting away into the dark. We are going to follow that reach outward now, world by world. The first world we come to is the smallest and the closest to the fire, Mercury. It is a strange and extreme little place, barely larger than our own moon, with no real air to speak of. It races around the sun faster than any other planet, completing a full year in just 88 Earth days. A world where the years rush by, but the days stretch out almost beyond belief. Because Mercury turns so slowly on its axis that a single day and night, from one sunrise to the next, lasts about 176 Earth days, longer than 2 of its own years. Without an atmosphere to hold the heat or spread it around, Mercury lives in extremes. The side facing the sun bakes at over 400 degrees, hot enough to melt lead. And yet, in the deep shadows of craters near its poles, where sunlight has never reached, there is ice. Frozen water, sitting in permanent darkness on the planet closest to the sun. The universe is full of these quiet contradictions. It is a gray, cratered ancient world, its face scarred by billions of years of impacts, looking not so different from the moon you know. It keeps no weather, no seasons, no soft edges. Just rock and sunlight and shadow, turning slowly in the brightness, too close to the fire for comfort. We will not linger. There are gentler worlds ahead. Outward we drift to the second world, Venus, the brightest point of light in your evening or morning sky, and one of the strangest places in the entire solar system. From a distance, Venus looks serene, a soft, pale, featureless globe wrapped in smooth white cloud. It is almost exactly the same size as the Earth, our near twin in the dark. For a long time, people imagined it might be a warm and tropical world hidden beneath those clouds, a younger version of our own. The truth turned out to be something else entirely. Those beautiful clouds are not water. They are sulfuric acid, and beneath them lies the thickest atmosphere of any rocky planet, a crushing ocean of carbon dioxide so heavy that the pressure at the surface is like being nearly a kilometer deep in our own sea. That thick air traps the sun's heat and will not let it go, in a runaway greenhouse effect that has turned Venus into the hottest world in the solar system. Hotter even than Mercury, despite being further from the sun. The surface simmers at around 460 degrees, day and night, everywhere, all the time. It is a world of slow, strange motions. Venus turns backwards compared to most planets, and so slowly that its day is longer than its year. If you could stand on its surface and see through the clouds, the sun would rise in the west and set in the east, taking nearly 4 Earth months to cross the sky. A beautiful, poisonous, upside-down world, glowing softly in the night, lovely from afar and merciless up close. And now we come to the third world, the one beneath you, home. From out here, drifting in the dark, the Earth is the loveliest thing in the solar system. A small blue sphere swirled with white cloud, the only world we have ever found where the temperature is gentle, the water is liquid, and the air is soft enough to breathe. Everyone you have ever known, everyone who has ever lived, every story and song and quiet night's sleep, all of it has happened on that single pale blue dot, turning in the dark. It is, as far as we know, the only place in all the silence where someone is lying in bed, listening to a voice describe the worlds around them. That alone makes it precious beyond measure. A world of oceans and forests and weather, held at just the right distance from the fire, neither scorched like Venus nor frozen like the worlds to come. And it does not travel alone. The moon drifts beside it, our oldest companion, a quarter the width of the Earth, circling us once a month as it has for billions of years. It is a still, gray, airless world, but it shapes our own in quiet ways. Its gentle pull raises the tides in our seas, the slow breathing of the oceans. It steadies the tilt of our world, and so steadies our seasons. The same face of the moon has looked down on every human who has ever lived, for it turns exactly once for every circle it makes, and so it keeps one side forever toward us. Tonight, that moon may be somewhere above you, beyond the ceiling, beyond the cloud, drifting on as it always has. Let it keep its watch. We are going further out now, away from the warmth, toward the colder and stranger worlds. The fourth world is the one we have dreamed of most, Mars, the red planet. It is a small world, about half the width of the Earth, and a cold one. Its thin air, what little there is far too wispy to hold any warmth, and the temperature rarely climbs above freezing. But of all the worlds beyond our own, it is the one most like home. It has seasons as we do, for it tilts on its axis much as the Earth does. It has a day almost exactly as long as ours, just 37 minutes longer. It has polar caps that grow and shrink, ice and frost, clouds and winds and weather. Standing on its surface, beneath a dusty pink sky, you would feel, in some strange way, almost at home. Its red color, the color that has caught the human eye for thousands of years, comes from iron in its soil, rusted by ancient processes into a fine red dust that covers nearly the whole world. Mars is, quite literally, a rusting planet. But the most haunting thing about Mars is its past. The surface is carved with the ghosts of rivers, dry valleys, old lake beds, the unmistakable shapes left by flowing water. Billions of years ago, Mars was warmer and wetter, with rivers and perhaps even seas under a thicker sky. Somewhere along the way, it lost its air and its water and became the cold red desert we see now. A world that had its chance at gentleness long ago, and slowly let it slip away into the dark. We send our robots there now, rolling quietly across the dust, looking for any sign that something once stirred in those ancient waters. Beyond Mars, the character of our journey changes. We cross a wide gap, scattered with asteroids, the rubble of a planet that never formed, and we arrive at something on a completely different scale. Jupiter, the giant. Jupiter is more than a planet. It is almost a second failed sun. It is so large that all the other planets in the solar system could fit inside it with room to spare. More than 1,300 Earths could be poured into its volume. It is not a world of rock you could ever land upon, but a vast ball of gas and liquid, mostly hydrogen and helium, the same stuff as the sun, swirling in endless bands of cream and orange and brown. Those bands are storms. The whole face of Jupiter is weather, churning at hundreds of miles an hour, never stopping, never still. And among them turns the most famous storm in the solar system, the Great Red Spot. A single hurricane larger than the entire Earth that has been spinning for at least 150 years, and perhaps far longer. A storm you could drop our whole world into and lose it. Around this giant drifts a miniature solar system of its own. Jupiter has dozens upon dozens of moons. 4 of them are worlds in their own right, large enough to be seen from Earth through the simplest telescope. One of them, Europa, hides a deep ocean of liquid water beneath a shell of ice, kept warm by the squeezing of Jupiter's gravity. An ocean out there in the cold, dark and salty and old, one of the places where just possibly something might be stirring. But that is a story for another night. We drift on. If there is one world that makes people stop and look and fall a little in love, it is the next one. Saturn, the jewel of the solar system. Saturn is the second of the giants, another vast ball of gas, nearly as large as Jupiter, so light for its size that, were there an ocean big enough, it would float. But no one remembers Saturn for its size. They remember it for its rings. Those rings are one of the most beautiful structures in all the cosmos. They stretch nearly 280,000 kilometers across, wide enough to very nearly span the distance from the Earth to the Moon, and yet in most places, they are only about 10 meters thick. A vast, shimmering, paper-thin disk of countless pieces of ice and rock, from grains the size of dust to boulders the size of houses, each one a tiny moon, all of them circling Saturn together in a glittering, frozen dance. Seen up close, the rings are not solid at all, but a billion separate things, sorted by gravity into bands and gaps and waves, turning in perfect silence. We do not fully know how the rings came to be or how long they will last. They may be the remains of a moon torn apart by Saturn's pull long ago. They may be young by cosmic standards and slowly raining down onto the planet even now, destined to vanish in some far future. For tonight, they are simply there, vast and delicate and luminous, the loveliest ornament in the sun's whole collection of worlds. Let us drift past slowly and take it in, before the cold deepens further. Far beyond Saturn, in the deep cold of the outer solar system, lie the last 2 great worlds, the ice giants, Uranus and Neptune. These are distant, dim, and frigid places, so far from the sun that it appears as little more than a bright star in their sky, giving almost no warmth at all. They are smaller than Jupiter and Saturn, but still vast compared to the Earth, and they are made differently, with more water and ammonia and methane. Ice is mixed deep into their bodies. It is the methane in their air that gives them their color, a soft and lovely blue. Uranus is the stranger of the two. At some point in its distant past, it seems to have been knocked over, perhaps by an enormous collision, and now it rolls around the sun on its side, its poles where its equator should be. This gives it the most extreme seasons imaginable. Each pole spends about 42 years in continuous sunlight, and then 42 years in unbroken darkness. A world tipped over, drifting through decades-long days and decades-long nights. And Neptune, the furthest of the great planets, is a deep and vivid blue, the color of a calm sea, though it is anything but calm. It has the fastest winds in the entire solar system, storms that scream across its face at over 2,000 kilometers an hour, out there in the cold and the dark, where the sun is 30 times fainter than we know it. Neptune is so far away that it takes 165 Earth years to complete a single orbit. Since its discovery, it has only just finished going around the sun one time. Two pale blue worlds, drifting at the edge of the sun's domain, in a cold beyond imagining. Beyond Neptune, the worlds grow small and scattered and very far apart. We have come now to the true outer reaches, the cold and quiet frontier of the solar system. Out here drifts Pluto, once counted as the 9th planet, now known as the brightest member of a vast swarm of small, icy worlds called the Kuiper Belt. Pluto is a real and fascinating place, with mountains of frozen water, plains of frozen nitrogen, and a faint blue haze in its thin sky. But it is small, smaller than our own moon, and it is far. So far that sunlight takes more than 5 hours to reach it, and the sun, from Pluto's frozen surface, is just a particularly bright star. There is no warmth there, only a dim and distant glow and the slow turning of the dark. And Pluto is not alone. It is one of many. Out in that cold belt drift countless frozen worlds, leftovers from the making of the solar system, never gathered into planets, simply circling, slow and silent in the deep cold. And beyond even them, far beyond, there is thought to be a vast and shadowy shell of icy bodies called the Oort cloud, surrounding the entire solar system like a faint and frozen halo, reaching perhaps a quarter of the way to the nearest star. From time to time, one of them is nudged loose and falls inward toward the sun, growing a long, bright tail, and we see it from Earth as a comet, a visitor from the farthest, coldest dark. This is where the sun's gentle reach finally fades, where its light grows too faint to feel, and its gravity loosens its hold, and the solar system gives way, at last, to the long emptiness between the stars. We have come as far as there is to go. And so we have drifted all the way out, from the fire at the center to the frozen edge of the dark, past every world the sun has gathered around itself. We have seen the scorched gray face of Mercury and the poisoned clouds of Venus. We have looked back at our own blue home and the faithful gray moon beside it. We have crossed the rusted deserts of Mars, marveled at the giant storms of Jupiter, and drifted past the shimmering rings of Saturn. We have passed the tipped and frozen blue of Uranus and Neptune, and gone out among the small, icy worlds at the cold frontier, to where the sun is just another star. And now we drift home again, back across all that distance, back toward the small blue world and the warm, dark room and the soft weight of the bed beneath you. All of those worlds are still out there, turning slowly in the night, exactly as they have for billions of years. Mercury racing around the fire, Saturn wearing its rings, Neptune's winds screaming in the cold, none of them needing anything from you, none of them disturbed by your rest. You do not need to remember their names or their distances or any of what you have heard. Let it all drift away the way the planets drift, slow and silent and untroubled. The solar system will keep turning while you sleep, as it always has, as it always will. There is nothing left to do tonight and nowhere you need to be. The sun is shining somewhere on the far side of the world. The planets are keeping their slow appointments with the dark, and you are home and safe and warm. Let your breathing slow, let yourself drift, and sleep well here on this small blue world among the quiet planets. Good night.